Have you guys ever had a trip that didn't really go as planned? You had a couple of things planned and something derailed those plans? Weather, traffic, anything? Well, in our case this time, my friend and I were in Colorado. Big plans to go do a hike in Rocky Mountain National Park. And when we woke up that morning, I saw that it was snowing. And I was like, it can't be too bad. It's, you know, the end of May, beginning of April. I know springtime brings snow to Colorado, but I was like, it won't be that bad. Meanwhile, I had a hoodie, a long sleeve, leggings, and some hiking pants over that. And then of course my hiking boots that are waterproof. We get up to the mountain and it's snowing. It's snowing. It's very windy. We get to the trailhead and lo and behold, we are the only ones there. This is a very popular trail. It's called the Mist Trail, I believe. It's supposed to be like an easy 5-mile hike to a beautiful lake. So I was super excited, but yeah, the weather derailed us. We got there and it was snowing heavily. We didn't have gloves, we didn't have a winter coat, like we had a beanie maybe. But yeah, so we were very unprepared and yeah, it didn't go as planned. But so we made the most of it. We were able to get out and explore a little bit, as much as our bodies could handle, because it was actually really cold. And the point of the story is how we were able to pivot and kind of do different things within the national park. The upside of it being bad weather was there was only like 20 other people in the whole park, which is very rare for Rocky Mountain National Park. It's actually a very busy national park. But we were able to explore a little. We saw some elk and we saw some deer. But you know, the point is you gotta make the most of your situation. Did we get to hike? No. But we were able to still explore a park and see it when it was pretty empty, and seeing the Rocky Mountain National Park while it's snowing is actually very beautiful. We actually started our trip by going to Garden of the Gods. If you've never been there, it's in Colorado Springs. When Colorado Springs and Denver, about an hour and some change apart. Garden of the Gods is one of those places that my friend and I go every year. We actually go to Colorado every year, but Garden of the Gods is one of those places that holds like a special place in our heart because there's always different parts of the park you can explore. This year we found some areas that we had never actually been to before. The other great thing about it is that it's pretty dog friendly. So we were able to take my friend's dog Theo with us on our little hike.
So we were actually able to find parking really easily this day because it was a Friday morning. Still pretty packed, but not too bad. We started on Juniper Loop Trail, but we crossed the street and ended up on Scotsman's Trail. So like I said, dogs are allowed everywhere, but these are also horse trails, so you have to be mindful of poop and other people hiking as well as other people on horseback. So we ended up following Scotsman's Trail for a little while, probably about half a mile. We had never actually done this trail before, so we wanted to see where it took us. And it actually took us to the center garden area where there's all these little rock formations. Plenty of photo opportunities here as well as some really pretty views, but we just continued because that was a really busy part of the hike. And so we kept going and we actually stumbled across these rock climbers, which is really cool. You do need a permit to do this and you need to bring all of your own gear, but I was not aware you could do this till this year, so this is definitely going on my bucket list. So we kept hiking along the trail and we found this deer. It was really peaceful. It didn't even care that we were there. It was too busy eating to even care about us. And then, you know, we just took our time and enjoyed all the beautiful views that Garden of the Gods has to offer.
If you've never been to Garden of the Gods before, I recommend just kind of doing a loop, seeing where you want to park. There's plenty of places to park, but it does get packed on the weekends. I recommend going during the weekday, early in the morning if possible. We've actually gone and watched the sunrise there before. It's very beautiful and you get to enjoy it without all the parades of people around. So I highly recommend going there. But just, you know, expect delays, expect traffic if you're going to go on a holiday weekend or just a weekend in general.
So this is the part of the trip where the weather just totally derailed our plans. As I said, I checked it was snowing this morning and as you can see, it wasn't really that bad. There is snow on the ground, but overall, like, it wasn't snowing, it wasn't windy, it was just overcast. I was like, okay, we can handle this. We did actually stumble across these elk that were eating and grazing in this field. It was right off the road, but since it was earlier in the morning, around like 6:30, they were just out and about. Got some really cool shots of them just kind of hanging out and doing their thing. They didn't really care that we were there too much, but we were also the only people there in the park at this time because it was so early. And like I said, the weather was also pretty bad. But it was awesome just to take a moment and like look at the bird just picking off the hair off this bull elk. Both my friend and I are big animal fans, so we just stood here for a while and watched these elk do their thing. It is pretty awesome to see them in the wild and not trapped in cages like you would at a zoo. So we just took our time and sat here, enjoyed the view, watched them probably about 20-30 minutes before they started walking away from us. So we continued on driving to the trailhead. As you can see, the weather still wasn't too bad here. It wasn't snowing. It was still pretty clear outside. I was feeling very optimistic at this point. The roads were still clear. They weren't icy. There was still, not great weather, but not bad weather. But then it all went south. It started snowing. The wind started picking up. And this is as we went higher and higher in elevation. At the lower elevations, it wasn't really too bad, but as we got higher and higher in elevation, which is where the trail had started, it got pretty snowy. We did not expect this. This was not expected. Even the weather lied to us. Regardless of the weather, we kept going, and as you see, it got worse and worse. Visibility was lower and lower, but we just kept going to the trailhead. Oh my gosh, this was unexpected. We were not prepared. Saying we weren't prepared is the understatement of the year. As you can see, it was a very snowy trail, actually pretty icy as well. We wanted to explore a little bit of the trail, so we didn't go far from the parking lot, but we did want to explore a little. As you can see, it is still snowing. We found some rocks, we took some pictures, but then ultimately we headed back to the car. This is not the trail for us today, sadly. It sucks, but oh well, still pretty. So after warming up in the car, we did check out a couple more turnouts with this cute little river. It was clearly very still snowy, very windy, but we were absolutely determined to make the best of our trip. We did explore another small trail that we stumbled across. Once again, we didn't go too far from the car because of the weather. We made sure we can always find our way back. But we did want to explore a little, be in the outdoors, just enjoy being in the mountains and the snow because it was very pretty and peaceful. Then we were out hiking and I was quickly humbled. Boom. There she goes. I sank down to my knees worth of snow. It was pretty funny. We were once again getting really cold, so we decided to head back and walk on this trail. As you can see, it is very peaceful without all the people, and it was actually just really nice to get out of the car and walk around. Well, it was unsuccessful. What a bummer. Well, it was still fun, but we didn't get to hike today. Boo. We decided to drive around the park a bit more, just enjoy the snow on the mountains, and we actually stumbled across some more elk. Could have been the same ones, but not too sure, but we just watched them graze a little bit, and then we stumbled across some deer, and they actually stopped traffic to make sure that they could safely get across the road. It was pretty fun to see. It started with one, and then the whole herd actually just went along and followed the leader across this road. Just a cute little opportunity to witness everyone just stopping and watching the deer cross the road.
So a little while went by and my mom sends me this weather report, and apparently they were having like the highest winds they've had in years. I guess worse than their 2021 storm. I wasn't there during 2021, so I don't know what that was like, but the wind gusts were up to 100 miles an hour. So we're like, okay, we got to get down this mountain. And the best part of me and my friend, like when we travel, we can pivot very easily. So we made the most of our trip, even though all we wanted to do was be outdoors. The wind was preventing that. Even down in Denver, it was 50-mile-an-hour gusts. So we decided to go to the Museum of Illusion. You'll see that here. but we made the best of our time. And so I say all this to say, right? Sometimes you gotta be able to pivot on your trips. Things might not go as planned. There might be poor weather, there might be poor visibility, a road might be closed that you didn't expect, you know, all sorts of things. The best thing you can do is pivot and find something else to do to fill your time and enjoy just being in another place.
So the next morning we went into the Arts District area. We wanted to go to this bakery called Izzio Bakery, known for their spiral croissants. But first we were checking out this art all over the streets because we were there a little early and they weren't quite open yet. So we just decided to walk around, and I mean, it's graffiti, but it's art. Like, it's honestly, the paintings, the murals, people are so talented in this area. It's awesome. Definitely another place I recommend you visit when you're in the Denver area. As you can see, they have an array of beautiful desserts, all different kinds. I kind of went ham. I got so many of these, but everything was amazing and totally worth it. So we had to begin our drive home, but we wanted to get another hike in before we went back on our 10-hour journey back to Dallas. So we stopped by the Garden of the Gods again because it was an area we knew, and we knew we can at least get a decent hike in. So luckily we found parking near the Balancing Rock area. This is a big photo opportunity, but there's also this service road right behind it. It's about a 12-mile service road, but so as long as you know how far you want to go up, that's how far you have to come back. So we did about 3 miles because we knew we still had to drive all the way to Dallas, Texas after, but man, it was a clear day, beautiful skies, beautiful views, the weather was perfect, and it was just like a great day to hike. So as you see, there is some elevation gain. There's some awesome views as well, but the elevation gain isn't too strenuous. It's actually a pretty decent hike. We did a short and easy 3-mile hike, but it was really worth the views to get out and do it.
So I'm gonna end this video just with a few tips. 1, don't go without winter gear if you're going to Colorado in the spring. Always bring gloves, always bring a winter coat, always bring hiking socks, hiking pants, a beanie, hand warmers, and the shoe spikes. Those were necessary too because it was very icy. Always check the weather before you go. That might help a lot. We did check the weather. The snow came out of nowhere, but you know, check the weather. Check the road conditions. And then check the average weather in that area for like the past few years, just to see if you can kind of get a gist of what it's gonna be like. But overall, it was still a great trip. We made the most of it, and we were still able to hike at Garden of the Gods, which is really pretty. Be prepared for anything, especially in Colorado up in the Rocky Mountains. You never know what you're gonna get. But yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. You know, sometimes things don't go as planned. We have to be able to pivot and, you know, change our plans and just be open to different things. Also, we're able to find a really cool coffee bar that we checked out before we went to the Museum of Illusions. And then we also found an amazing Birria taco spot that was just outside of Denver. But you know, great things can come from plans being ruined, and you just, you know, just gotta be spontaneous sometimes. Still had a successful trip. We still had a great time. We were able to hike the day before we left. We didn't get to do the hike that we wanted up in Rocky Mountain National Park, but can always go back and try that another time, maybe in the summer when it's not snowing outside and super windy and having like hurricane force winds outside. But all right guys, until our next adventure.